So it turns out that Elon Musk is so far right now, at least according to the New York Times, he's so far right that he's actually against the mass slaughter of white people in South Africa. Here's a headline: Elon Musk slams the New York Times for its supporting of South African song advocating for killing white people. Now, there is a socialist party in South Africa that has about 10 to 13% of the vote there, run by this man, Julius Malema. And he was formerly in the ANC, the ruling party there, but was kicked out for being too extreme. So he started his own party. And here's a giant political rally that he's having in South Africa. Let's take a look.
Alliance shoot to kill Hamaza, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa.
So, kill the boer, the farmer. It's an explicit statement. And as with everything from the modern left, if you were to reverse the roles, it would quite rightly be called genocidal. Elon Musk said they are openly pushing for genocide of white people in South Africa. And then he says, Cyril Ramaphosa, who's the leader of the ANC, why do you say nothing? Well, he says nothing because nobody cares, because they're talking about slaughtering white people. And he said this: the New York Times actually has the nerve to support calls for genocide. If ever there was a time to cancel that publication, it is now. And then he said, you can read their articles for free anyway using removepaywall.com. Yeah, you shouldn't be giving them a penny of your money. Now, anybody of good conscience should be appalled by calls for genocide. But Elon Musk is South African, so obviously this will be personal for him. And he's talking about this article, Kill the Boer song fuels backlash in South Africa and US. And it says, right-wing commenters claim that an old anti-apartheid chant is a call to anti-white violence, but historians and the left-wing politician who embraces it say it should not be taken literally. So I'm afraid the New York Times has just become evil, right? So they immediately say right-wing commenters to try and discredit critics of this to their audience, and then reassure us that this explicit call to violence shouldn't be taken literally. This is a giant political rally with tens of thousands of people there all chanting, kill the Boer, kill the farmer. It's about as explicit as you can get. Let's see, it says the political rally was winding down when the brash leader of a leftist South African party grabbed the microphone and began to stomp and chant. Thousands of supporters joined in, and when he reached the climax, they pointed their finger in the air like guns. Kill the Boer, Julius Malema chanted, referring to white farmers. The crowd in a stadium in Johannesburg on Saturday roared back in approval. And again, I ask you to just reverse the roles here. And what would the reaction from the left be? Well, you know what it would be. They think that not telling children that they're born in the wrong body is genocide. A video clip of that moment shot across the internet and was seized upon by some Americans on the far right. That's right, it's just far rightists who are concerned about this. You don't need to worry about it. They're just chanting an old folk song. But apparently these crazy people on the far right said that it was a call to violence. The song Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer is a call to violence. And that notion really took off when Elon Musk, the South African-born billionaire who left the country as a teenager, chimed in. Although, hold on a second. Back in 2018, this same guy, Malema, leader of the EFF, said, we have not called for the killing of white people. At least for now. Is that an old folk song too? In an interview with TRT World, published on Monday, Malema said he could not guarantee what would happen in the future, and warned that a revolution would happen if things continue as they are now. Well, I have to wonder, why is that the Boers' fault? Why is that the white farmers' fault? They don't run the country anymore. Quote, I'm saying to you, we've not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future. Asked by the presenter if he understood that to some, To some, this might sound like a genocidal call. He responded, "Crybabies, crybabies." I mean, all he's doing is leading giant crowds in a chant about killing them. But the New York Times explains this all away. Despite the words, the song should not be taken as a literal call to violence. According to Mr. Malema and veterans and historians of anti-apartheid struggle, it has been around for decades, one of the many battle cries of the anti-apartheid movement that remain a defining feature of the country's political culture. But strangely, he doesn't mention this interview where he says they're not calling for the killing of white people for now. I guess it's probably best not to, because then it would be harder to trick people. See, asked during a news conference on Wednesday about Mr. Musk's comment, Mr. Malema responded, quote, "Why must I educate Elon Musk? He looks like an illiterate. The only thing that protects him is his white skin." Because, hey, up is down. It's opposites day. Every day for the modern left, including the New York Times. In recent years, people on the right, of course it's on the right, always on the right, in South Africa and the United States, including former President Donald J. Trump, have seized on attacks on white farmers to make the false claim that there have been mass killings. Well, here's an article from June of this year. Farmers urged to step up security after 7 brutal farm murders in South Africa during the past week. And if you've done any research on this, you understand when they say the word brutal, they mean brutal. In fact, too brutal to talk about in this video. We're not just talking killings, we're talking torture and unbelievable inhumanity. And genocide is nothing new to Africa. You can look at Sudan, you could look at the Rwandan genocide just from 1994. You had 500,000 to 662,000 Tutsi deaths. You know, I really don't think it's crazy to think that when they say, kill the Boer, kill the farmer, that they mean it. The same man that the New York Times is defending has said on record that it's on the table. You know, not yet, but he can't guarantee the future. So what can we make of this? Well, South Africa is a very dangerous place, and the rest of the world, maybe the UN, should maybe take notice. Of course that won't happen, because the UN doesn't care about these kinds of human rights. It's the same UN that put Saudi Arabia on the Commission for Women's Rights. So good luck there. And it sounds to me like there's a bunch of people in South Africa who just need to get out. And as for the New York Times, they have just become, without doubt, just an instrument of evil. And don't forget, this is the same newspaper that defended Stalin. And hopefully, I don't hold out a lot of hope, but hopefully at some point they'll be a step too far for even their own readership, and it will die. And if so, good riddance. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.